This program originates live with the NBC Television Network.
NBC Sports presents the 1965 World Series. From Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, the Los Angeles Dodgers meeting the Minnesota Twins. With Vin Scully, welcoming you to Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, and the second game of the 1965 World Series. In appreciation for your continued support, Chrysler Corporation and the Gillette Safety Razor Company bring you this series and such other outstanding events as the All-Star Baseball Game, NCAA College Football, and the 1965 Rose Bowl Game, exclusively on NBC. As you may have guessed, the weatherman has not been kind. And as one diehard baseball fan said not long ago, remembering the prediction of yesterday that today's weather would be good for the game, he said of the weatherman, promises, promises, promises. It began to rain about 1 hour after the conclusion of yesterday's game. And in the general area of the Twin Cities, it rained hard much of last evening. It slacked off this morning. And within the last hour or so, there has been no heavy rain, just a series of disturbing drizzles. And just about every means known to a groundskeeping crew has been used to try and get this field in good playing condition. For want of a better phrase, we have decided that that awesome-looking gadget there would be known as a civilian flamethrower. And they have been used from time to time by the ground crew here at Metropolitan Stadium during the regular season to try and get the field in playable condition. This game is authorized under television rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball, solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited unless authorized in writing by the Commissioner. Now, a little while ago, the use of a helicopter to try and get the outfield in a much better playing condition than it was when the folks first arrived here. And by way of videotape, we thought you might like to see how a helicopter is used to get a baseball field ready for play. Now, we'll tell you again, over the last hour, the rain here at Metropolitan Stadium has not been a hard rain. It's just been a series of annoying drizzles. In fact, the weatherman has said, as far as the forecast was concerned, that to all outward appearances, the rain should leave. But then, quote, the clouds have shown a tendency to remain in the area. This scene was taped just a bit earlier this morning here at Metropolitan Stadium. As of right now, the game will be played. And as of right now, the weatherman is still optimistic. And so are we. Neither team had an opportunity to take batting practice. There was a pass made at infield practice, but not the type usually held before a game. The infield, of course, will be in good condition. The outfield will be wet in spots. The warning track has had a type of substance applied which brings up, which causes the rain to do less damage than it ordinarily would. Here at Metropolitan Stadium, it's 344 feet to the foul line in left. In the so-called power alley, 365 feet in left center. Straightaway center field is 430 feet. Now, this is an increase of 20 feet over last season, the last regular season. So 430 feet to straightaway center. And then at 402 in deep left and right center, the power alley in right center field, as in left center, 365 feet. And to the foul pole in right, 330 feet. although it quickly falls away. The pitchers for today's game, as announced, and it will be a battle of left-handers. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, the incomparable Sandy Koufax will be pitching. We do not have time at this moment to list all of Sandy's accomplishments this season in aiding the Dodgers to their place in this 1965 World Series. Suffice it to say, at this moment, he won 26 games and lost only 8, and again led the National League, and this is the 4th year in a row he's led the National League, with an earned run average of 2.04. The temperature right now, for those of you who are statistically minded, 56 degrees, the wind is 17 miles an hour, and the humidity is 83%. Now, the Commissioner of Baseball, of course, makes the decision as to whether this game will get underway, and he is chatting here with Ed Hurley, the chief of the umpiring crew. Meanwhile, as Sandy Koufax is warming up in the Dodger bullpen beyond the right center field fence, so is his opponent for today's game. For the Twins, their top winning left-hander in the regular season, Jim Kaat. Kaat won 18 games, lost 11, and compiled a very good earned run average of 2.82. And so for this second game of the 1965 World Series, with the Twins having won the opener yesterday by a score of 8-2, so the starting pitchers are getting ready. The infield is still covered, but we have every expectation, since it is a bit brighter right now and the rain has momentarily stopped, we have every hope that the game will be underway, and if not exactly on time, within a moment or so of the scheduled time of 1 p.m., which is Central Time here in Bloomington, Minnesota. In looking over Sandy Koufax's record for this season, we already mentioned that for the 4th year in a row he led the National League in earned run average. He also was the top man in the league as far as his percentage was concerned, with that 26-8 record. And he'll be facing a lineup today that is somewhat changed from yesterday for the Twins. At shortstop, it will be Zoilo Versalles, the batting star for the Twins yesterday, with 4 runs batted in. But in center field will be right-handed batting Joe Nosek, a first-year player for the Twins. The right fielder will again be left-handed batting Tony Oliva. The third baseman and cleanup batter will be Harmon Killebrew. The Twins catcher will bat in the 5 spot today, Earl Batty. A change in left field. Yesterday it was Sandy Valdespino. Today it will be right-handed batting, power-hitting Bob Allison. The first baseman will be batting today in the number 7 spot, Don Mincher. Rookie Frank Quillisi, who collected 2 hits in yesterday's big 3rd inning for the Twins, will be at second base and bat 8, and the pitcher will be Jim Kaat. And by golly, a light drizzle starts to fall again. So perhaps it's going to be one of those days where it'll rain a little bit and then stop for a while. But the last time we heard anything official from the weatherman, he was still highly optimistic that the game would be played. And as you might expect, just about every type of rain gear and protection from the elements is here at the stadium today. This second game of the 1965 World Series is being brought to you from Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. As the infield remains covered, it is my pleasure now to bring in the broadcaster, the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Vin Scully. I, as a sort of unofficial representative of the Twins, I apologize profusely for what has happened here as far as the weather's concerned.
Well, what's that song about a little rain in every life? Thank you, Ray, and hi, everybody. The lights are being turned on here at Metropolitan Stadium, and it is as if everybody in the ballpark trying desperately to ignore the weather. The pitchers are warming up. The umpires have already gone to the dressing room to get the game balls, and in a few minutes, apparently, they're just going to start in the rain. These are the men who will lead it off for the Dodgers. In the number 1 spot, the captain and shortstop, Maury Wills. Hitting second, Jim Gilliam. In the 3rd spot, Willie Davis. In the cleanup spot against left-handers is the right-hand hitting left fielder, Lou Johnson. Ron Fairley, a left-hand batter, drops to the number 5 spot against Kaat. And then switch hitter Jimmy Lefebvre at second base. Switch hitter Wes Parker at first base, hitting 7th. John Roseborough, the veteran, will be behind the plate. And Sandy Koufax on the mound. One of the things, and one pressure spot in this game today, all of the outfielders particularly will have a lot of problems not only on going after balls, but they know, both clubs having fine speed, the outfielders will not only have to charge base hits, which will slow up on the grass, but they will be picking up a wet ball to get back to the infield. And you can bet fellas like Zoilo Visayas and Maury Wills and some of the other speedsters on both clubs will try to dare some of the outfielders, and we should have a little bit of a wide-open game as far as the hitters challenging the outfielders' arms. Well, maybe Sandy Koufax and Jim Cott can pitch in the rain, but apparently the governor of Minnesota is not going to try, because we just get the report that Governor Carl F. Rolbog, the governor of the state of Minnesota, will not throw out the first ball. Yeah, we still have the light rain, but the ground crew rolling off the tarp. The infield itself is in good condition. It's been covered. As Ray pointed out to you, it began to rain about 1 hour after yesterday's game. So the skin part is dry. The treacherous areas will be on the warning track, and certainly for catchers going after foul balls and any infielder going over to the track, it'll be wet and slippery going. In this mechanized age, Minnesota rolling up its tarp. Only to bring it up, since Ray was talking about the apologies for the weather. The Dodgers, since they moved to California, have never been rained out. And, of course, they are quite delighted about that. And although they do have a tarp at Dodger Stadium, it has been used sparingly. I think the closest they came to having a game rained out a couple of years ago against the St. Louis Cardinals, it rained, up until about 6 o'clock, and they were working on the field until game time. But the tarp is rolled up for keeps, apparently. There is still a light drizzle. But the pitchers are warming up, and the 6 umpires are meeting at home plate, along with Captain Maury Wills and manager Sam Mealy. Sam Mealy is still awaiting news from Quincy, Massachusetts, where his wife is expecting the arrival of their child any moment, so we understand. And the Dodgers kept a date with the Stork. Left-hand pitcher Jim Brewer of the Dodgers received the happy news that his wife presented him with a bouncing baby girl in Tulsa, Oklahoma today. Those umpires, the plate umpire from the National League, Tony Venson. At first, from the American League, John Flaherty. At second, from the National League, Ed Sudol. And at third, a switch, at least according to the names up on the board. From what we had gathered yesterday, the third base umpire would be Bob Stewart. And then the line umpires would be Ed Hurley at left and Ed Vargo at right. So we had better wait a moment and check third base to be sure. Right now, we'll pause briefly for station identification. Hurley said definitely Stewart would be a third. This way they would. Normally, under regulation game conditions, the game is in the hands of the umpires once the batting cards are exchanged at home plate. However, at the very end of a baseball season, during the heat of a pennant race, it is then from all day in the hands of the umpires, and today it's in the hands of the Commissioner of Baseball, Ford Frey. The crowd now standing for our national anthem. Just to refresh your memory, of course, and you don't have to around Minnesota, the Twins yesterday winning in convincing style with 8 runs, 10 hits, and no errors. And the Twins' power and speed evidenced on home runs by Don Mincher, a 3-run home run by Zoilo Versalles. There were 3 doubles and a stolen base by Versalles. For the Dodgers, 2 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. They had a home run by Ron Fairley, and their other run came in the 9th inning. Jim Grant thoroughly muffled the Dodger bats yesterday, and today, in the second game of the series, Jim Kaat and Sandy Koufax. Tomorrow is a travel day, the 3rd game of this 1965 World Series, scheduled for Dodger Stadium on Saturday, and it will be left-hander Claude Osteen for the Dodgers, right-hander Camilo Pascual for Minnesota. Wills takes a Twins lineup back to the Dodger dugout. Sam Mealy brings a Dodger lineup over to his dugout, and the Minnesota Twins take the field. Setting Minnesota defensively at first base, yesterday's home run hitter, Don Mincher. At second, Frank Quilisi. At shortstop, the star, Zoilo Versalles. And at third, Harmon Killebrew. In the outfield against Koufax, Bob Allison in left, Joe Nozick in center, and Tony Oliva in right. Behind the plate, Earl Batty. And on the mound, left-hander Jim Kaat with a record of 18 and 11. Danny Ozark coaching at first for the Dodgers. Over at third, Preston Gomez. Jim Kaat, mainstay for the Twins, made 42 starts last year, completed 7. He had 2 shutouts and appeared 3 times in relief. He led the league in those 42 starts, equaled his top previous win total, and enjoyed his best percentage of the year. In 1962, he won 18. In 1964, he won 17.
A little while ago, we asked Jim Kaat his feelings on facing the Dodgers, and in particular, since his mound opponent would be Sandy Koufax.
I feel that I've got to pitch my own ball game against the Dodger hitters and not worry about who's pitching against me. We have a pretty good hitting ball club ourselves, and I think he has all that he wants to worry about, and I think that if I can hold the Dodgers down to 1 or 2 runs, we're going to score some off from him.
So Maury Wills will lead it off, followed by Jim Gilliam and Willie Davis. Jim Kaat is an exceptionally fine fielding pitcher. A strike. Killebrew up inside the bag at third. Mincher about even with the bag at first. And Quilisi is halfway up at second base. Fly ball to right field. Oliva almost in his tracks. 1 away. Jim Gilliam coming up. Gilliam went 1 for 5 yesterday. One advantage you have starting a left-hander against the Dodgers. You take all of their switch hitters and make them right-handed batters, and consequently, they have the extra couple of feet to run to first base. Breaking ball missed, ball 1. Fastball hit in the air into shallow right center. Nozick had a late start, almost slipped, but he's still there. As he started to get a jump on the ball, his right foot went out from under him in the wet grass. 2 out, Willie Davis the batter. Willie yesterday went 1 for 4. He lined out twice to Tony Oliva in right field, and on one of the plays, Tony made a fine leaping catch. Big curve. 0-1. Killebrew still up on the grass, but everybody else back. Check swing, strike 2. Willie Davis is a swinger at the plate in 558 at-bats. He walked only 14 times. Little tapper wide of first to Mincher. He underhands to Cott. The Dodgers are out in order in the score at the end of the first half of the first inning. The Dodgers nothing, and the Twins coming up. Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively now. There's Wes Parker at first, Jim Lefevre at second, Captain Maury Wills at short, Jim Gilliam at third, Lou Johnson in left, Willie Davis in center, Ron Fairley in right, Johnny Roseboro behind the plate, and Sandy Koufax on the mound, 26-game winner. He's had 3 World Series decisions. Jim Lemon coaching at first, and Billy Martin over at third.
I asked Zoilover Saez how he thought Koufax would pitch to him and his experience yesterday in facing Drysdale.
I think Mike Koufax threw me today on the first pitch. I'm going to guess for a curve. And yesterday pitch, Drysdale struck me out, I should say, with a fast ball around the letter. But the second time that he threw me was a fast ball, but just was by 5 inches down the letter. And I got a good piece of wood out of it, and I was lucky to hit the ball out of the park.
Well, Zoilo was guessing correctly. Koufax curved him with the first pitch, but it was very high. Ball 1. Another curve, strike, 1-1. Sandy's equipment, fastball, curveball, and a forkball, which he started to work with early this year. Fastball fouled out of the way. 1-2. The name Koufax, of course, is now synonymous with strikeouts. Against the Yankees in 1963, he set a World Series record. He struck out the first 5 batters he faced. That was the game in which he set a World Series record of 15 strikeouts. And in his 2 appearances against the Yankees, he set a record of 23 strikeouts in one series. Fly ball into shallow right. Lefevre out, Fairley in. It's Fairley. 1 away. Here is Joe Nossick. Nossick had 2 home runs during the regular season. Alternating with Jimmy Hall in center. Gilliam plays him about even with the bag. High fly ball to left field. Johnson goes back, still on the grass, now on the track, and makes the catch. Well, we asked Sandy Koufax about his philosophy and what the World Series means to him after a tough end race. And here's what he said.
We've had a good year, the Dodgers, and sometimes it's hard to feel like when you come through a tough race that you're really up for it. But I think everybody in our ball club wants to and is trying very hard to win the World Series. No matter how good a year you've had, you feel like it's not complete until you've done a good job in the series.
2 out in the first inning, and here's the great Tony Oliva. Oliva, oddly enough, with all of the base hits, 10, and the 8 runs scored yesterday, his big bat was quiet, and in a sense, that is comforting to the Twins. Curveball, hit back to Koufax. That'll do it. The Twins are out in order, and the score at the end of 1 inning of play. The Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. Second inning, no score in the ball game, and this 1965 World Series game is being brought to you live and in color, exclusively on NBC.
For the Dodgers, batting fourth, number 41, left fielder, Lou Johnson.
Second inning, Lou Johnson, Ron Fairley, and Jim Lefevre against Jim Cott. Johnson went 1 for 4 yesterday. Good breaking ball. 0-1. Cott's number one pitch, so they tell us, is his fastball. But you have to have pretty good curve to win 18. Bouncer foul outside of third down the line. 0-2. It is dark and gray and damp and a little bit drizzling, but what's most important, they're playing. You showed him that fastball, 1-2. Johnson crowds the plate. Consequently, he is hit by a lot of pitches. He set a Dodger club record for being hit 16 times this year. Hit down the line, foul. Didn't get around on a fastball. Scott almost had it in there. 1-2. Johnson violates a hitter's doctrine in the sense that he looks for the breaking ball an awful lot of times. 2-2. Most hitters feel you look for the fastball, and you can always correct for the curve. But if you look for the curve, the fastball will be by you. 2-2. There's the fastball, fouled away. 2-2. Fastball. Down he goes. So Jim Cott gave him a good fastball up and away, and Johnson went down swinging.
Right fielder, Ron Fairley.
Ron Fairley went 1 for 4, hit a home run yesterday. Killebrew plays him in on the grass at third. That's a little surprising. The pitch is strike. Only in the sense that Ron is not a runner, and he rarely bunts. Against a left-hander, of course, all bets are off. Big bouncer up along first base. Fair ball. Mincher to Cott. Two down. The switch hitter, Jim Lefevre, come up to hit right-handed. He wants a rosin bag before he gets up to the plate. 2 outs, second inning, no score. Jim Cott and Sandy Koufax, the Dodgers and Twins, second game of the series. Lefevre went 1 for 4 yesterday. Breaking ball, 0-1. Lefevre has some power. I think he is more power batting right-handed. He had 12 home runs last year. Fastball hit over the mound. Charging it is second baseman Quillisi to throw him out. And the Dodgers are out in order, and the score at the end of an inning and a half. The Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. Metropolitan Stadium, the scene of the 1965 World Series. Plate umpire Tony Venzen went out to the mound for a moment just to inspect it and to make sure it was still pitchable. And Armin Killebrew, Earl Batty, and Bob Allison in that order. Bottom of the second, no score. Killebrew went 1 for 3 yesterday, a base hit. Dodgers play him deep and to pull. Curve miss, ball 1. Koufax, extremely long fingers. He has the hands of a pianist. And one reason why he decided to pick up the forkball. Curve is over, 1-1. It is one reason why he gets such tremendous rotation on the ball, because of the length of his fingers. Fastball missed. 2-1. Armin Killebrew hit 25 home runs, 75 RBIs during the season. Fastball and a towering fly ball into left center. Willie Davis and Lou Johnson, and it's Lou Johnson. One away. That'll bring up catcher Earl Batty. Batty had a base hit to drive in a run yesterday, wearing the protective helmet. Earl, somewhat like Willie Davis, a first ball hitter if he gets his pitch. One out, light rain falling, second inning, no score. On the corner with the fastball, 0-1. So it's raining, but they're playing. Same spot, strike two. Two fastballs on the corner, knee high, 0-2 to Batty. Curveball in the dirt, strike three. Dropped by Roseboro, he tagged him. So Koufax records the first strikeout today for his side after Jim Cott had struck out Lou Johnson. And Bob Allison, the batter. Big Bob had 23 home runs, 78 RBIs. He can rip. One ball and no strikes. Benson put a new ball in play. Sandy sheepishly laughing about that pitch. It hit about 3 feet in front of the plate. Curve ball for a strike. 1-1. Sandy pounding at that rubber. Apparently the rain starting to turn the dirt into mud, and it's caking the spikes. High foul off third. Gilliam comes over to the temporary boxes, but no play. 1-2. Both left-handers, Jim Cott and Sandy Koufax, will have to contend just with that problem. The spike's still up, you lose your traction, and you begin to slide as you take your long stride towards the plate. And the other problem for both pitchers becomes something else to think about. Curve in the dirt. 2-2. 2 out, bottom of the second inning, no score. Breaking ball high. 3-2. On deck, the left-hand hitting first baseman Don Mincher. In there, strike three call. So the Twins are out in order, and the score at the end of 2 innings of play. Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing. A reminder, Mickey Rooney guest stars in a powerful drama next Wednesday evening when Bob Hope presents the Chrysler Theater in color at 9, 8 Central Time on NBC. Third inning, no score in the ball game. Wes Parker, Johnny Roseboro, Sandy Koufax. Killebrew, even with the bag. Parker likes to bunt. Rest of the infield back, with the exception of Killebrew. 1-1. As we mentioned earlier, Jim Cott, an excellent fielding pitcher. In there at the knees, 1-2. So Cott throwing strikes. Third inning, no score. Two and two. Missed with the fastball. So he's been in and out with Parker, and he's gone 3-2. Outside with the fastball, and we have our first base runner. A walk to Wes Parker, and the batter will be Johnny Roseboro. The Dodgers with 2 catchers. During the course of the regular season, Roseboro went most of the times, and when he sat one out, it was against a left-hander, and young Jeff Torborg caught. But in the series, they go with the veteran. Fastball for a strike. 0-1. Curve outside, 1-1. Wes Parker at first base stole 13 bases. And the Dodgers conceivably would play hit and run with Roseboro, who has lost some speed. 1-1. Cott thinks so he'll drive Parker back. One and one. Boy, he really jammed him with a fastball at the knuckles. Ball 2. 2-1. Earl Batty wigwagging signs out to him. Slice to left field. Allison started in, goes back, and makes the catch. And Parker returns to first. One away, and Sandy Koufax coming out. So Jim Cott working with 1 out and Parker at first base and Sandy Koufax at the plate. Sandy enjoyed a fine season with the bat. He had 20 hits. Takes ball 1. For Sandy Koufax to get 20 hits in one season, that equaled the number of hits he had in the 3 preceding seasons. Twins looking for the bunt. In there, 1-1. Sandy staring at Preston Gomez to see if the bunt is still on. One and one. Full swing that time, fouled away, 1-2. Jim Cott, in his delivery to the plate while holding a runner on at first base, has what you could call a pitcher's hitch. He kind of bounces his hands in front of his body while ready to pitch to the plate, and it's that hitch that might help the base runner. There's the bounce. 2-2. However, in bouncing, he does not come to a deliberate set, and it's a little tough to pick off just when he's coming to that stop position. Third inning, no score. There he's set. Bouncer hits slowly down to Quillisi. He looks at second, has to go to first. So Koufax moves Parker over a notch as he grounds out second to first. 2 down, and Maury Wills will be the batter. He'll also consume a little time to allow Koufax to get back to the dugout. The lights have been on since the start of the game. Angry sky. At the moment, it has stopped raining. Parker at second, 2 out. Wills picked up an RBI in yesterday's game with a bunt single. He had 33 for the season. In direct contrast, the leadoff man for the Twins, Zoilo Versalles, had 77. Hit in the air to right field. Oliva goes back a little. That'll do it. No runs, no hits, a man left. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings of play, the Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. We were talking before about the mound at Metropolitan Stadium. It was bothering Koufax, and it apparently bothered Cott a little bit more, as the rain and the spike marks complicated matters. And so 2 members of the ground crew have apparently sprinkled either topsoil or sand out there to try and give the pitcher a dry surface, something to push off. Koufax in 2 innings with 2 strikeouts. He has averaged at least a strikeout per inning in his career. For the Minnesota Twins, Don Mincher, Frank Quillisi, and pitcher Jim Cott. And by the way, Jim Cott's a pretty good hitting pitcher. Don Mincher got a high breaking ball early in yesterday's game and hit a tremendous shot into the right field seats to tie it up. He also walked, and Ron Fairley took an extra base hit away from him. So he hit the ball hard yesterday. Curve, a strike, 0-1. Before Koufax had the elbow trouble, which has been diagnosed as a traumatic arthritic condition, he used to lean towards first against left-handers. Fastball missed, 1-1. He would tilt by way of the bag and occasionally even sidearm. But in deference to the sore elbow, he has given that up. Curve fouled off third, down the line, out of play. 1-2. Good folks are here, rain or no rain. They've come well prepared. Koufax trying to get the Dodgers even. Jim Cott trying to give the Twins a strong advantage. 2-2. Dodger infield playing Mincher to pull, swung around to first. The outfield shaded around to right. Fairly is deep. Ball 3. Fastball way out. Metropolitan Stadium. Over, strike 3 called. So Mincher becomes the 3rd consecutive batter to strike out against Koufax. As we mentioned in the opening remarks, in the first game against the Yankees in 1963, he set a World Series record for striking out the first 5 batters. Here is Frank Quillisi. Played a great game at second base yesterday and had a double and a single in the 3rd inning. One out, 3rd inning, no score. Fastball crowded him, 1-1. Fastball fouled away, jammed him. 1-2. Yesterday's loser, taking a look at today, Don Drysdale. 1-2. High, ball 2. Two and 2 to Frank Quillisi. 1 out in the 3rd, no score. Curve missed, ball 3. Put your own caption to that one. Full count. Fastball high. Here is a good hitting pitcher, Jim Cott. presenting his credentials. He has a home run and 9 RBIs during the regular season, a .247 average, occasionally used as a pinch hitter, and among other things, he likes to bunt for a base hit. So with 1 out and Quillisi at first base, a wet infield, we'll see what he does. He's around to bunt, takes a strike. Cott has the label excellent fielder. Koufax would have the label average to fair. Ooh, he was going to swing away after going around as if to bunt. 1-1. Checking with Billy Martin. No score in the third. Frank Quillisi at first, held on by Wes Parker, 1 out. Quillisi goes. It's swung on and missed. Roseboro to Wills. They get him. So Quillisi nailed at second base from Johnny Roseboro to Maury Wills, 2-6. We're going to take another look at that. Change signals. We'll take a look when he steals one. That'll do it. Breaking ball, strike 3. 4th strikeout for Koufax. No runs, no hits, no errors. Score at the end of 3. Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing. We'll pause now for station identification.
This is the CBC Television Network.
A reminder, friends, this Saturday, NBC will telecast a major college football battle when Duke meets Pitt in the NCAA Game of the Week. Live and in color at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 11:30 Central Time, exclusively on NBC. Remember that before every college football game is the Bud Wilkinson NCAA Preview Show. Fourth inning, no score. Jim Gilliam, Willie Davis, Lou Johnson. Ball 1. Light rain begins to fall again. Gilliam flied to center in the first inning, 0 for 1. Fouled away, 1-1. Jim, basically a fastball hitter, and it is to his advantage to hit back of Wills in one respect. That with a base stealer on base, the next hitter gets a lot of fastballs. Ball 2. Jim Cott, 18-game winner in his first World Series. Hit in the air to right field. Oliva, who was busy yesterday, is busy today. Tony tied a World Series record for putouts in right field yesterday, and he has 3 so far today. Here's Willie Davis, and we were wondering about how it felt to hit against left-handers in the World Series or at any time, and here's what Willie said.
I faced a lot of left-handers in my time. This guy I know is a real good pitcher, and he gets the ball over, and they say he has good control, but when I'm swinging good, I don't care whether I'm hitting against a right-hander or a left-hander. It doesn't really make that much difference.
0-1, breaking ball on the corner. Killebrew in on the grass. Soft curve, hit to Mincher. Don underhands to Cott. 2 out. We don't have a hit in the game. There have been 2 base runners. Koufax has walked Quillisi, and Cott walked Parker. Lou Johnson struck out in the second inning, 0 for 1. Curve over, 0-1. Johnson can easily get the nickname Suitcase, we mentioned yesterday. In his 13 years, he's now with his 18th club. I think Cut turned that one over a little bit. Almost as if it would act like a screwball. 0-2. Fastball hits it dead center, and Nossick has to go and get it to the track. He's got it. That's about 415 to 20 feet away. Dodgers out in order, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play. Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing. Bottom of the 4th inning. No score in the ball game, and quite a game it is. Koufax in 3 innings has not allowed a hit. Big day yesterday. He mentioned earlier he expected to be curved the first pitch by Koufax, and he was. Now we'll see about the second time around. Fastball, foul back. Letter high fastball. 0-2 to Zoilo. He hit one of those no doubt about it type home runs yesterday with 2 men aboard. Deep into left. High fastball hit out foul. Way down the line. Koufax got that one way up and way in. But with 2 strikes, Versailles had to go after it. Oh, and 2. Breaking ball high. Koufax curved, but then a little too high. He has struck out 4. Jim Kaat has struck out 1. Curveball, and he got it down and over. 5 strikeouts for Koufax. 1 out, and here is Joe Nossick, who made the Major League outfielders play on the drive by Lou Johnson. He really had to go to get it, and he had to run on that wet grass and then the wet, muddy track, and he did it all well. Joe flied to left in the first inning. Gilliam even with the bag. Curve high. No score, no hits for either side, with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. Curve is over. 1-1. Fastball, foul back. 1-2. Saturday, it'll be left-hander Claude Osteen and right-hander Camilo Pascual. The scene will shift to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. 1-2. High, 2-2. Another breaking ball that stayed up. Two and 2. Joe Nossick. Curveball, line to center, base hit. There's the first hit of the game. So Joe Nossick singles on the curveball with 1 out in the 4th inning for the only hit. And here is Tony Oliva. Oliva hit back to Koufax, who threw him out in the first inning. reducing the game to its fundamentals. He threw as hard as he could, and he swung as hard as he could. 0-1. One out, fourth inning, no score. The Twins with the only hit. Clean single to center by Joe Nozick. 1 out. 0-1 to Oliva. Lob throw to first. Koufax does not have an extra good move to first. He is not a Spahn or a Whitey Ford or somebody like that. Fastball, strike 2. By the way, game number 3 Saturday, 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time from Dodger Stadium in color, here on NBC. Fastball away. Hard stuff to Oliva. He hadn't thrown him a breaking ball, and the count 1-2. One out, fourth inning, no score. Joe Nozick at first base. Tony Oliva at the plate, 1-2 the count. Fastball got him. So Oliva becomes strikeout number 6 for Koufax. And that brings up Harmon Killebrew. Harmon Killebrew flied to left field in the second inning. Harmon out 7 weeks with a dislocated elbow. But he still hit 25 home runs and wound up with 75 RBIs. Curve, ball 1. Joe Nozick stole 2 bases during the regular season. Fastball, left into left field, base hit. Nozick to second, makes a turn, stumbled, and goes on. Johnson bobbled the ball, and he's into third, and down to second goes Killebrew. It'll be a base hit on an error charged to Lou Johnson. And not to make ourselves look good, but remember earlier we were talking about the rain and the problems the outfielders are going to have on picking up a wet ball. And the fact that base runners would put pressure on the outfielders. And Nozick made a big turn to put pressure on Johnson, and Lou appeared to look up to see where the runner was, and then the wet ball just slipped away from him. And their runners at second and third, 2 out, no score in the fourth. Earl Batty with first base open, and they will pitch to him with Bob Allison on deck. The outfield playing Batty to right field. High and away, ball 1. Here in the inning, 2 singles and an error by Lou Johnson. And the Twins have runners at second and third. Fastball hit back of first in foul ground. Parker to the box seat railing and makes the catch for the out. For the Twins in the fourth, no runs, 2 hits, an error, 2 men left. And the score at the end of 4 innings of play. The Dodgers nothing, the Twins nothing. 5th inning, no score in the ball game. How does it feel to play in the World Series? We asked Ron Fairley.
I think it was certainly a pleasure being in a World Series, and I'd have to say that my first World Series hit was a home run, and it was certainly a thrill in my life. Although in 1959, we were beaten by the Chicago White Sox, I believe something like 11-0, so I know that the fellows are not discouraged at all.
No score here in the 5th inning. Fairley, Lefevre, and Parker. Fairley grounded out. Mincher to caught covering in the 2nd inning. low with the curveball. Fairly bailing out a little bit, as the players say, as Cott came by way of first. 1-0. Sidearm curve over, 1-1, and Fairley giving it a lot of room. Another curve fouled away. So all sidearm curveballs in the count 1-2. Fairley had a great first half of the season, and then early in August he bruised the base of his left thumb. He still played and put the bat up into his fingers, more like the way you would hold a golf club, and proceeded to then hurt his left wrist. Curveball hit into right field. So there's the first hit for the Dodgers. Fairley at first. Jim Lefevre grounded out in the second inning to Frank Quillisi. Fairley is not a base-running threat at first. Ron stole 2 bases during the year. No score, 5th inning. Ball 1. Walter Alston feels that Jim Lefevre is the best bunter on the team. He was around to bunt that time. Killebrew tight to the bag at third. Mincher holding Fairley at first. Line drive down the left field line and hooking from Allison, who dives, makes a circus catch. Oh, what a play by Allison. Fairley back to first. A tremendous play by the Minnesota left fielder. We just got to look at that one again. Here it is coming out. And remember, he's running on wet grass and also a muddy, wet warning track. Watch him slide. Great play. So we've come up with a defensive gem in the series, credited to Bob Allison, and the batter is Wes Parker. Right. No runs, 2 hits for the Twins. No runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers. Fastball hit slowly, and Mincher hesitated, and it goes off his glove, and everybody's safe. Don Mincher, the first baseman, I believe, thought Cott was going to make a leaping catch of it, hesitated, and by the time he went over, it was off his glove. Even had Mincher come up with the ball cleanly, he was going away from his play, and in the judgment of the official scorers, there are 3 of them, it's a base hit. So each side with 2 hits. Here's Roseboro, flied to left in the 3rd inning. You might remember John's brother is with the Ohio State Rose Bowl team in 1955. Ball 1. Fairley at second, Parker at first, 1 out on a circus catch by Bob Allison. No score in the 5th. Fastball missed, ball 2. For Roseboro, checking with Preston Gomez. See if they'll let him hit 2-0. There's Fairley at second, Parker at first, 1 out. In there, 2-1. Fouled away. 2-2. Fairley waiting to be picked up at second. Parker at first. 1 out in the 5th. No score. Each side with 2 hits. crowd applauding as a park policeman flipped the ball to one of the fans. 2-2. High foul off third. Killebrew coming over on the muddy track. Leans in, backhand. Nice play by Harmon. The Roseboro fouls out to Harmon Killebrew, and he had to fight his way to that ball through the wet grass and the muddy track. And here's Sandy Koufax. But Allison's play in left field has changed the entire inning. 2 out, 2 on. Koufax grounded out to Quillisi in the third inning. Fastball. Sandy was guessing fastball. 0-1. Sandy trying to plant that right foot. High pop foul off first base. Mincher coming over. He'll hit the muddy track. Makes the catch. For the Dodgers, no runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And the score at the end of 4.5 innings of play. Dodgers nothing, Minnesota nothing. The second half of today's World Series game is brought to you by the Gillette Safety Razor Company. In direct contrast to yesterday, as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, we got a ball game today. Minnesota nothing, the Dodgers nothing. And now to pick up for the play-by-play, the voice of the Minnesota Twins. Here's Ray Scott.
Thank you, Vin Scully. Hi again, everybody. And how many times it happens a man makes the great fielding play, and here he is to bat. Bob Allison, a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. One of 6 strikeout victims of the Dodgers' Sandy Koufax. He fouls the change curve for strike 1. Allison did not play in yesterday's game, playing in left field today as manager Sam Mealy decides to platoon in left, where Allison replaces Valdespino, and in center, where Joe Nosick is playing today instead of Jimmy Hall. No score. Last of the 5th, each team with 2 hits. Fastball, strike called, 0-2. Early in the season, Allison came up with a bone fracture in his hand, and he has never been able to really get his timing back. But despite that, he still knocked in 78 runs. Fastball away from him, ball 1, strike 2. Allison will be followed by Don Mincher and Frank Quillisi. Fastball fouled back, no change in the count. The Twins posed a 2-out threat in the 4th with runners at 2nd and 3rd, but Koufax retired Batty on a foul pop-up. The Dodgers had runners at 1st and 2nd in the 5th inning, top of this inning with 1 away, but Roseboro and Koufax were retired on foul pops. Change outside 3rd foul, and it's still 1-2. The folks seated right there along the left field line and their counterparts along the right field line are in temporary field boxes. Dodger outfield shaded to the left. And Gilliam is really hugging the line at 3rd. Oh! Inside, 2-2. If perchance you were out of the country yesterday, I guess we should tell you that the Twins won the opening game yesterday by a score of 8-2. Strikeout. Roseboro will tag him out. 7 strikeouts for Koufax. Here's Don Mincher, strikeout victim in the 3rd inning. big gap to Mincher is in left center field. Strike. Strike two. Ball one is high. Tony Venson of the National League is working the plate today. Takes that position between the catcher and the batsman. Two and two. Koufax has walked only one, Quillisi, in the third inning, while striking out 7. Fastball high, full count. Base hit to left center field. Lou Johnson with the ball. Hit number 3 off Koufax. It comes with 1 away in the Twins' 5th inning of a scoreless game. Frank Quillisi walked in the 3rd inning. Yesterday was Frank's first appearance in the World Series. Now, today's game in stark contrast to yesterday's game, where the Twins broke a 1-1 tie with a 6-run 3rd inning. Little pop-up. Second baseman Jim Lefevre grabs it, 2 down.
Number 36, Jim Clark.
And applause begins to build as Jim Cott comes striding to the plate. Call out on strikes in the 3rd inning. Cott has good power. Strike. Ball 1 as the fastball is high. This 1965 World Series game is being brought to you live and in color, exclusively on NBC, and Jim Cott doesn't get the high tight pitch, and it's 1-2. Looking to the Dodgers' 6th inning, it will be the top of the order: Wills, Gilliam, and Davis. Strikeout number 8 for Koufax. The Twins are out and leave 1 on. At the end of the 5th inning, the score, the Dodgers nothing and the Twins nothing.
Here is a special report from NBC News.
As that special news report was presented, Maury Wills bounced a base hit over third, and for the first time in this World Series, Wills is on base to lead off an inning. Now let's watch how the Twins handle this premier base stealer. Strike. Earl Batty was asked about what do you do about Amari Wills when he's a base runner.
Well, I guess by now everyone in baseball knows that Maury Will likes to run, and he will be running in the series if he gets on. So I imagine our only plan of attack will be to try and keep him off of first base.
There he goes. Killebrew out at first, and Wills is at second. So Wills breaking. Gilliam is out. Killebrew to Mincher. But Wills is on second with one away in this scoreless game, top half of the sixth. Cott conferring with shortstop Zoilo Versailles. The batter will be Willie Davis. Twice has been thrown out Mincher to Cott. Wills has his first stolen base of the 1965 series. I beg your pardon, not a stolen base. I'm so carried away by his tremendous record that I want to credit him with something that he doesn't have. Ball one to Willie Davis. Now Killebrew is even with third. The Twins outfield shaded to the right. Versailles is fairly close to second, so Wills' lead from second is comparatively shallow. Popped up. Killebrew coming toward the plate. 2 down. Wills led off the sixth inning with a bouncer over third. With Killebrew playing shallow, he could not grab it. And Wills was on with a base hit, the third off Cott. With Wills going, Gilliam grounded out. Davis then has popped up, and here is Lou Johnson. Struck out in the second, and with a 2-strike count in the fourth inning, powdered a Jim Cott fastball to deep center, where Joe Nossick was able to run it down about 420 feet from the plate. Ball one is outside. With first base open and a left-handed batter on deck, you can be reasonably certain that Cott will be very careful with Johnson. Runner going. Little nubber to Mincher. The side is out. At the end of 5.5 innings, the score is the Dodgers nothing and the Twins nothing. The scene is Metropolitan Stadium at Bloomington, Minnesota. There is no score. The Twins are coming to bat in the sixth inning, and just as the Dodgers had the top of the order up in their half, so it is with the Twins. Versailles, Nossick, and Oliva. Versailles has flied to right and struck out. Koufax, the #1 strikeout pitcher of all time, based on strikeouts in a season, has already whiffed 8. Gilliam even with third. Fastball high, ball one. Foul back, 1-1. If this indeed is not Koufax's type of weather, and there seems to be little doubt it just isn't his kind of weather, boy, he must be something when it's hot. Foul away on the right side as Koufax jams him. Ball and 2 strikes to Versailles. series will resume from Dodger Stadium on Saturday afternoon. 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Off the third baseman, Gilliam. Versailles streaking for second. Lou Johnson with the ball. A wicked hopping ball that Gilliam could not hold. It is nonetheless charged as an error to the Dodger third baseman. It's the Dodgers' second error of today. The batter is Nossig. A fly ball to left in the first, a solid single to center in the fourth. Gilliam is in a step at third. Parker is even with first. To first, out there, Versailles is at third with one away. A huddle at the mound as Tony Oliva comes to the plate. This Sunday, NBC will telecast one of the top American Football League games of the year when the San Diego Chargers meet the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. That's at 1 Eastern Time, 12 Central Time, live and in color, exclusively on NBC. The Dodgers have been able to handle Oliva in this series. Today, he is tapped weakly back to the mound and struck out. Yesterday, he was hitless in 4 at-bats. Twice hit the ball to the outfield. The Dodger infield is at the edge of the grass. High, ball one. No score. Versailles at third, one out. This is the bottom half of the sixth inning. Versailles at third. Strike, 1-1. The American League batting champion, Oliva. The game's top winning pitcher, Sandy Koufax. At this point, it's no longer a meeting of statistics. Strike two. Two and two. Oliva is not necessarily a bad ball hitter, but he has his own idea as to his own strike zone. Base hit to left field. Oliva is going to try for two. Safe. The Twins break through and lead 1-0. The batter is Killebrew. A fly ball to left in the second and a single to left in the fourth. Oliva has his first World Series hit and RBI. Base hit. Oliva waved around third. It is 2-0. Five hits off Koufax. And with one out, the batter is Batty. He struck out in the second, fouled out in the fourth. Base hit. Manager Walter Alston is coming out. Killebrew and Batty both going after first pitches from Koufax. Catcher John Roseboro. Second baseman Jim Lefevre. And Koufax huddling with Alston. An error, and after a sacrifice, consecutive hits by Oliva, Killebrew, and Batty. It is 2-0. The Dodger skipper heads for the dugout. The batter is Allison. He has struck out twice, looking in the second and swinging in the fifth. And the Dodger bullpen is active. Killebrew on second, Batty on first, one out. Strike. Batty. Killebrew on second. Dodger outfield is shaded to the left. Foul. The Dodgers' Sandy Koufax trying to pitch out of even deeper trouble. In the dirt, blocked out by Roseboro. A ball and 2 strikes. Killebrew. Batty. Second and first. Strike 3. Allison becomes Koufax's 9th strikeout victim. Here is Mincher, called out on strikes and singles. The Twins lead 2-0. This is the last of the 6. 2 out. Runners first and second. To Koufax, and the Twins are out. 2 men are left. And at the end of the 6th inning, the score is Minnesota 2 and Los Angeles 0. We pause now for station identification.
This is the CBC Television Network.
A very interested onlooker and attending his last World Series in an official capacity is Commissioner Ford Frick. He is seated in one of the field boxes by the Minnesota dugout. In the 7th inning for the Dodgers, Ron Fairley, Jim Lefevre, and Wes Parker. The Twins have 2 runs, 6 hits. The Dodgers, no runs and 3 hits. And the only errors in the game, 2 by the Dodgers. American League President Joe Cronin came prepared. And to his right, Mrs. Cronin. Fairley has grounded out and singled to right. Strike. Today's official attendance exceeds that of yesterday. It is 48,700. The foul is out of play behind the plate, strike two. Lefty Jim Cott, 18-game winner in the regular season. He was a 2-1 victor in the pennant-clinching game over Washington. He wastes the pitch outside, and it's 1-2. Inside of the letters, and it's 2-2. In order to pass along information to the expanded press area for this World Series game at Metropolitan Stadium, additional loudspeakers have been placed just outside our television booth. Fly ball into left, Allison, base hit. So Fairley is 2 for 3. Hit number 4 off the Twins left-hander, and the batter is Lefevre. There is activity now for the first time today in the Twins bullpen. Lefevre has grounded out. There's a line drive base hit to left. Last time up, Allison robbed Lefevre of a base hit with a truly outstanding skidding catch of his line drive deep in the left field corner. And so the Dodgers, trailing 2-0, come after Cott here in the 7th inning, and manager Sam Mealy of the Twins is making his first appearance. He is looking in the direction of the Twins bullpen beyond the right center field fence. The left-hander is Jim Merritt. The right-hander is Alan Worthington. Cott, for the moment at least, will stay on. Ron Peronoski is working for the Dodgers. He appeared in yesterday's game. So the Dodgers have the first 2 men on in the 7th with no out. Here is Parker, walked in the 3rd, an infield hit in the 5th. Batty to Quillisi, and the runners move up. 1 away. Here is John Roseborough. He has flied to left and fouled out to 3rd. Now the Twins have a decision to make. First base is open. The pitcher is due next. Manager Sam Mealy, of course, if he so elects, can force the hand of manager Walt Alston, with Koufax due to bat and in the on-deck circle right now. Strike, the curve over. The Twins 2, the Dodgers nothing. Beginning of the 7th, Dodger runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. The infield is back. Fouled away, strike 2. I should say the infield back, with the exception of the 3rd baseman Killebrew. He's only about 2 steps behind the bag. Outfield is straight away. Foul. Danny Ozark fields it at first. Fairley returns to 2nd. Rather, Lefevre returns to 2nd and Fairley to 3rd. Just missing with the curve. Ball 1, strike 2. Again, just below the knees, 2-2. One of the certainties of baseball the reaction of the hometown crowd on a close pitch. Base hit. The one-run scores. Roseborough is trying for second, and he is in there. It is 2-1. So the Dodgers break through, and with only one out, Sandy Koufax is being called back. And Don Drysdale is coming on. This might be, Vin Scully, the first time in the history of a World Series that the first game starting pitcher comes up to pinch hit for the second game starting pitcher.
It sounds that way. I know that Drysdale has pinch hit for Koufax in the past. Come to think of it, I guess he's pinch hit for just about every pitcher on the staff.
Drysdale had a regular season batting average of 300. And that's the best of the Dodgers. 7 home runs, 19 runs batted in. In yesterday's game, had an opportunity to bat only one time. He hit the ball hard, but grounded out short to first. The Twins now will have to bring up the infield. Strike one. Strike two. Cott has recorded but one strikeout in this game. 2. And so with 2 out, the batter is Maury Wills. In the first and in the third, sent fly balls to right. In the 6th, bounced a base hit over Killebrew into left field. The Twins 2, the Dodgers 1. Now let's see how the Twins play the infield. Despite the fact that there are 2 outs, they must protect against the bunt. And so Mincher and Killebrew are up tight. Quillisi is more than halfway. Ball 1. Versailles back almost normal depth at short. Pop up. In shallow center, Joe Nasi. The Dodgers are out. 2 men are left. At the end of 6.5 innings to score. Minnesota 2, Los Angeles 1. Sandy Koufax went 6 innings. Gave up 6 hits, 1 run. 1 run that was earned. 9 strikeouts and 1 walk. Ron Peranoski takes over. He appeared in yesterday's game, worked 2 innings, gave up no hits. Although he walked 2, he didn't strike out anybody. Peranoski will face Quillisi, the 8 batter, the pitcher Cott, and then Versailles. The president of the National League, Warren Giles, seated, of course, by the dugout of the National League champion Dodgers. This Saturday, NBC will telecast a major college football battle when Duke meets Pitt in the NCAA Game of the Week, live and in color at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 11:30 Central Time, exclusively on NBC. Remember that before every college football game, the Bud Wilkinson NCAA preview show may be seen. Frank Quillisi walked in the 3rd and popped up in the 5th. The Twins 2 and the Dodgers 1 in the 2nd game of the 1965 World Series. In the dirt, ball 1. just as yesterday's attendance of 47,797 set a new record for Metropolitan Stadium, so today's crowd means another new record. Foul at third. A moment ago, you had a look at the Twins bullpen, where Dave Boswell and Jim Perry are working. Billy Martin returns that foul to the mound, and it's ball one and strike one to Frank Quillisi. Gilliam even with third. Outfield just about straight away. Quillisi yesterday doubled and singled in 4 at-bats. Low, ball 2, 2-1. Hard hit ground ball to Wills. 1 away. And now the pitcher, Jim Cott. Twice a strikeout victim. $48,700 here today. Off-speed pitch low, ball 1. Ball 2. Cott is checking signs with third base coach Bill Martin. Fastball over, 2-1. Now, 2-2. Unless there is a last-minute change in the thinking of the respective managers, Claude Osteen will be Walter Alston's choice for the Dodgers' third game on Saturday. And Sam Mealy has said he will go with right-hander Camilo Pascual. Strikeout. The first for Perinoski and the 10th of the game for Dodger pitching. And with 2 out in the 7th, here is the Twin shortstop Versailles. Versailles today 0 for 3, but scored the first run of the game. His grounder got by Gilliam at third for a 2-base error. He eventually scored on Oliva's double to left. Two out, none on. This is the last of the 7th. The Twins are leading 2-1. Perinoski missing inside, ball 1. One and one on the called strike. Looking to the Dodger 8th inning, the 2, 3, and 4 batters are scheduled. Gilliam, Davis, and Johnson. Near the right field line. Fairly chasing it in the corner. Versailles is going to try for 3. Triple. Hit number 7 for the Twins. The first off Perinoski. Versailles on the instant replay, and you can see his tremendous speed in going first to third. Versailles tied for the American League lead in triples in the regular season, as he had 11. A 2-out triple in the last of the 7th, and the batter is Nossig. He's 1 for 2, and he sacrificed Versailles to third in the 6th inning. Ball 1. Versailles came way down the line. He's going to try and score. He scored. It would appear that Versailles, by coming halfway home, might have upset Perinoski to the extent that the Dodger left-hander is charged with a wild pitch. And it is 3-1, the Twins. As Perinoski started the full windup, Versailles came just about halfway to the plate. It is ball 2 to Nozick. Ball 3. Two out and none on. Strike called, and it's 3-1. Third baseman Gilliam. And the throw gets beyond the first baseman, and Nozick is at second. And the left fielder right now is moving to second. That's Lou Johnson. An error is charged to the third baseman, Gilliam. The batter is Tony Oliva. After going hitless yesterday in 4 at-bats, and in the first 2 at-bats today facing Koufax, he doubled to left to knock in Versailles with the first run of the game. That is the third Dodger error. Left fielder Lou Johnson. The Twins are out and leave 1 on and score a run. And so at the end of the 7th inning, the score is Minnesota 3 and Los Angeles 1.
Jim Gilliam has committed 2 errors today, but before the ball game, he had this to say.
This is my 6th World Series. It's always exciting to play in a World Series. We got shellacked pretty good yesterday, but that's one game. I think we'll be back.
Jim Gilliam's thoughts on the eve of this second game. He takes a strike here from Cott in the top of the 8th inning. Strike 2. Gilliam in this game is 0 for 3. Cott allowed no hits for 4 innings, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 3 in the 7th. Foul back. Low and outside. Ball 1, strike 2. Fastball high, 2-2. Nosick, the center fielder, making the call and the catch. One out. Here now is the Dodgers center fielder, Willie Davis, hitless today in 3 at-bats. Ball 1. The lights were turned on before the game started. And now it's particularly bright because the sky is lighter as well. Mincher to Cott. 2 down. The left fielder now, Lou Johnson. Hitless in 3 at trips. Cott today has limited the top 4 men in the order as of right now to just 1 hit. Wills, a base hit to left in the 6th inning. Strike. Second baseman Quillisi to Mincher. 1-2-3 in the 8th inning. And so at the end of 7.5 innings, the score, Minnesota 3 and Los Angeles 1. An enchanting dinner for 2 becomes a confusing dinner for 3 when Mona dates a Maharaja tonight on Mona McCluskey. Juliet Prowse stars at 9:30, 8:30 Central Time in color here on NBC. In the last of the 8th, before this huge throng at Metropolitan Stadium, a new stadium record crowd of 48,700, the Twins in the 8th will send up Harmon Killebrew, Earl Batty, and Bob Allison. Killebrew has 2 hits today and 3 trips and has knocked in a run. Yesterday, 1 for 3. On the mound, Ron Peranoski. Fastball away from the right-handed batter, ball 1. Getting ready for his Saturday starting assignment is left-hander Claude Osteen. Ball 2 low. Three to 1, the Twins leading, bidding for their 2nd straight win in the series. Foul, 2-1. Number 1 for the Twins is third base coach Billy Martin. Peranoski gave up a run in the Twins' 7th inning. A 2-out triple by Versailles and then scored on a wild pitch. This 1965 World Series game being brought to you live and in color exclusively on NBC. Change-up is high and it's ball 3, strike 1. Ball 4. The first walk off Peranoski, the 2nd of the game off Dodger pitching. Here is Earl Batty, a single in 3 trips. Batty is a good hit-and-run man, and also an excellent bunter. The Dodgers have Gilliam ready to charge the plate. Killebrew not going anywhere. There are no outs in the Twins' 8th inning. The Twins are leading 3-1, and Killebrew is on first. Foul off Batty's bat, and it's 1-1. Batty has suffered an unusual number of injuries in his athletic career. I asked him yesterday, I had forgotten exactly how many concussions he had suffered. And he said, oh, about 5. 3 in baseball, 2 in basketball. Out on the little pop foul to the catcher, Roseboro, 1 away. Here is Bob Allison. 3 times today, a strikeout victim. Here's what Allison had to say about facing the Dodgers starter today, Sandy Koufax.
Well, what I remember about Sandy, of course, is he's got that good fastball and that real good curveball, and I've only faced him a couple times. And the first time I faced him was in Vero Beach in Florida in spring training, and I hit a home run off from him. And the second time, I don't know if I hit a home run or what. Evidently, I didn't because I don't remember it. But probably I might have struck out against that real good curveball he's got.
Strike 1 to Allison here, facing Perinoski. Strike 2. Wondering about the size of plate umpire Tony Benson, and he dwarfs many of the batters. Tony was quite an athletic star in his own right back in western Pennsylvania a number of years ago at Ferndale High School. 2-strike count on Allison. Fastball outside, ball 1. Dodger outfield playing Allison well around to the left. Out of play and into the seats along the left field line, foul, and it's still 1-2. Twins scored 2 runs in the 6th inning, 1 in the 7th. The Dodgers run in the 7th. Killebrew leading at first. Into right center field. Killebrew going for third. And Allison at second with a double. Number 8 for the Twins. The second off Perinoski. And the batter is Mincher. A single in 3 at-bats. The Dodger infield is near the edge of the infield grass. Mincher's hit today came off Koufax on a 3-2 pitch. He singled to left center field. Strike 2, Perinoski's sinker ball. Killebrew on third. Allison in the background is on second. Killebrew is hung up between home plate and third. He's tagged out, and Allison has to hold at second. So with 2 out, there are runners at first and second. For a moment, it appeared there might be a collision between the shortstop, Wills, and the base runner at second, Allison. Here's the way it looks by way of the instant replay as Roseboro gets the put out and then falls victim to the slippery turf. Frank Quillisi is the batter with Allison on second, Mincher on first, and 2 out in the last of the 8th. Quillisi hitless in 2 official at-bats. He walked 1 time. Outside with a fastball, ball 1. The Twins rookie second baseman. Maury Wills had a word there at the mound with Peranowski. There is a balk as Peranowski came up on the rubber, forgetting for the moment that there were base runners aboard. He was starting into his windup. So Allison moves to third and Mincher to second. And they'll put Quillisi on with first base open and Kant waiting to bat. There is ball 4. Kant has struck out 3 times. Peranowski faced Kant just 1 time. That was in the 7th, and got him on a swinging 3rd strike. So the Twins have the bases loaded. 2 out. In the Dodger 9th inning, Fairley, Lefevre, and Parker are the scheduled batters. Ball 1. The runner at third, Allison. At second, Mincher. At first, Quillisi. Walter Alston is walking to the mound and has already signaled that he wants to make a change as Jim Kott knocks in 2 runs to make it 5-1. Bob Miller has been warming up in the Dodger bullpen. Peranowski goes 1 2/3 innings. Has already given up 3 runs and is still responsible for the runner on second, Quillisi, and the runner on first, Kott. 3 hits off Peranowski. He struck out 1 and walked 2, one of them intentionally. So far in the series, as the Dodgers have been forced to use relief pitchers where the Twins have not, the Dodger relievers have decided not to make use of any vehicular transportation. So Miller now is taking the long walk across the outfield. And Peranowski heads for the Dodger dugout. Miller, in the regular season, appeared in 61 games, compiled a one-loss record of 6-7, worked 103 innings, and allowed but 81 hits, and a 2.97 earned run average. 5-1, the Twins lead in the bottom of the 8th. Miller comes into a situation with 2 out, 2 on, and 2 runs already across. He will be called upon to face the Twins' leadoff batter and shortstop, Zoilo Versalles, who in the first 2 games of the series has certainly proven to be a spark plug to the Twins. Calm, always calm and poised, Walter Alston. For a day that started with rain, continuing into the early afternoon and the first several innings of the game, the day has brightened up considerably. And we have had no rain since the early innings. Versalles today has 1 hit in 4 at-bats, a triple, but he has scored 2 runs, one of them on a wild pitch. Frank Quillisi on second. Jim Cott on first. Gilliam is playing a fairly deep third place to Versalles. Dodger outfield straight away. Breaking ball outside, ball 1. In the American League, the pitcher must take the sign on the rubber. Not so in the National League, and in the World Series, the league custom prevails. Shallow center, and a fine catch by Willie Davis. He lost his hat, but made the catch. The Twins are out, having scored twice and leave 2 men on. So at the end of the 8th inning, the score is Minnesota 5 and Los Angeles 1. We move to the top of the 9th. For the Dodgers, Ron Fairley is the first man up. But right now, the tremendous speed of Willie Davis on our instant replay as he made that inning-ending catch in the bottom of the 8th. Fairley taking the breaking ball low for ball 1. Fairley is 2 for 3 and has scored the Dodger run. He has 2 singles and 3 at-bats, 1 for 4 yesterday, including a homer. He's only hit a homer yesterday. It's 1-1. Jim Cott has allowed 6 hits. He has struck out 2. Strike 2. This overwhelmingly Twin-oriented crowd cheering Cott on, of course, in this stage of the game, with the Twins leading 5-1 in the 9th. Strikeout number 3. Cott now has retired 6 in a row, and with 1 out in the 9th inning, the batter is Jim Lefebvre. The box score would show him 1 for 3, but it took a tremendous catch by Bob Allison in the 5th inning to rob him of a sure base hit. That catch might have turned the game around. Ball 1 low. 2. Strike, and it's 2-1. Base hit into left. So for the Dodgers, with one away in the 9th inning, Lefebvre comes up with a base hit, and here is Parker. He's had just one official at bat, Parker, and came up with an infield hit. He had walked in the 3rd and sacrificed in the 7th. Dodger runner, first baseman Mincher. Ball 1 is low. Oh, he's hit with a pitch. Low inside delivery, hits Parker, and the Dodgers suddenly have 2 on with only 1 out. And the batter is Roseboro. 1 for 3, a run-producing single back in the 7th inning. Batty and Versailles at the mound with Cott. And ever since the middle innings, the Dodger bullpen, rather the Twin bullpen, has been almost constantly busy. John Roseboro, the Dodger catcher, waiting. Twins 5, the Dodgers 1. Top of the 9th. Foul, strike 1. Step off the rubber by Cott. Mincher will take the sure out. 2 away as the runners move up. The pitcher was in the on-deck circle, but manager Walt Alston now must go to his bench. And I believe it will be somebody who's been in the bullpen. Either Torborg or Krasuski would be the guess by Vin Scully. And in a moment we will know. Dodger runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. Top of the 9th. And the Twins' Jim Cott. Krasuski will be the batter. Dodger utility player. In the regular season, appeared in 78 games, a .215 batting average. Dick Krasuski. Cott is trying to emulate Jim Grant's route-going job yesterday. Dick Krasuski comes to the plate. Twins outfield is straight away. Strike. Krasuski choking up on the bat a couple of inches. Lefty Jim Cott. Strike 2. Just missing with a fastball at the letters. Ball 1, strike 2. Sandy, Jim Cott looks down, and the ball was there. And the Twins have made it 2 in a row. Jim Cott receiving congratulations from his teammates, manager Sam Neely, the first out of the dugout to greet him, as the Twins will take a 2-0 advantage to Los Angeles, and the third game of the series, which will be in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium on Saturday afternoon. So Cott goes all the way as he bests Sandy Koufax, Ron Peranowski, and Bob Miller. The final score, the Minnesota Twins, 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. The Los Angeles Dodgers, 1 run, 7 hits, and 3 errors. In a moment, we'll review the highlights of the game for you. To review the game for you now, Vin Scully.
Well, it appeared from this angle that the difference between the two teams was a difference between the white home uniforms of Minnesota and the traveling gray of the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was all Twins after Gilliam's error in the 6th and the double and 2 singles by Killebrew and Batty to give the Twins a 2-0 lead. And in retrospect, and at looking at the totals, it is quite apparent that the Dodgers could not come up with a big defensive play. On the contrary, they committed 3 errors. And Minnesota not only played well, they played superbly at the right time. You had some fine plays by Don Minshew at first base. You had a nice running catch by Joe Nossick going deep to center. And then you had the biggest play of the game, I believe, that tremendous diving catch by Bob Allison in the left field corner. Had that ball gotten by Allison, the Dodgers would have had at least runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out in the 5th inning, and although we'll never know, it would certainly have changed the complexion of the game. So the Twins had it and the Dodgers did not, and the scene will shift to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. For Jim Cott, the winning pitcher, allowing 7 hits, only 1 walk, a boy who did not complete very many games in the American League. In 42 starts, he completed only 7, but he went all the way and set a World Series record for putouts by a pitcher. They have just announced he had 5 putouts for the record. For the Dodgers, Sandy Koufax allowed only 1 earned run, but it was enough to beat him because he allowed 2 runs and the Dodgers never did get even. For Koufax, it is the 2nd time he has lost, and in his World Series record, his 2 defeats, 1-0 to the Chicago White Sox when Bob Shaw beat him, the run coming over on a double play at the Coliseum in '59, and now his loss today when he allows just 1 earned run. The Twins have a strong jump now. They've won 2, and it'll be Claude Osteen and Camilo Pascual Saturday from Dodger Stadium. This game is authorized under television rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited unless authorized in writing by the Commissioner. One other factor for the Minnesota Twins, their timely hitting. They had 9 hits to the Dodgers' 7, but the Twins got the maximum out of it. Yesterday, each side had 10 hits, and again the Twins had the maximum. Today, the Twins bunched their hits, 2 runs on 3 hits in the 6th inning, 1 run on 1 hit in the 7th, 2 runs on 2 hits in the 8th. The Dodgers, because of the great catch by Allison, wound up with runners at 1st and 2nd and 1 out in the 5th and did not score. They had a runner at 2nd with 1 out in the 6th and did not score. They had runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out in the 7th and 1 run over, and then were turned away empty-handed. And then, fittingly, in the 9th inning, they left 2 more on a line drive to Jim Cott. So for the Dodgers, they are down 2-0. They go home to Dodger Stadium. Claude Osteen, who has never lost to Minnesota. He was 5-0 lifetime against the Twins when Claude was with Washington in the American League. The Dodgers will pin their hopes on left-hander Osteen, and it'll be the great right-hander Camilo Pascual going for Minnesota. Tune in Saturday at 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time for the 3rd game of this 1965 World Series, when your hosts, as today, again will be Gillette, the people who know men best, and Chrysler Corporation, famous for quality and engineering. Today's host, Dodge, and your local Dodge dealer.
This is the CBC Television Network.